serious about that.
Yeah,
No doubt. Like, yeah, I'm serious. I'll be so serious about this, so I definitely gets it in like that. So, fellas, so now after we understood, man, what type of father that we want to deliver to our children, and what was our goals as a father, now what we want to look at, man, what type of adults do we want our children to become? What is the goals that we have for our children, right? So the first thing was the goals that we had for ourselves as a father. What type of father do I want to be? Now what we want to look at is, man, what type of adults do we want our children to become? And when you think about your upbringing, how many people can say, man, these are the goals that my parents had for me and I knew about them? How many people knew that how many parents had goals for them? What was the goals that your parents had for you?
Be more successful in what they are.
Again, we dealing with that.
Learn from what they done different. I mean,
right.
Just to be more successful, but I mean, suppose it don't work out like that.
Why it don't?
Hey, you veer off a little bit, you get stuck, run around, you know what I mean?
Right. So now we got to look at that, because that's good, because I hear that a lot. It's like, I just want you to be better than me, but I want to know, how do you get that accomplished? How do you go about getting that accomplished? See, they say something in business. It's called SMART goals. It's SMART, S-M-A-R-T. I hope that I remember it. It's specific, right? That means that the goal must be specific. It must be measurable. It must be attainable. It must be realistic. And it must be timely, right? SMART, S-M-A-R-T. SMART. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So when somebody says, man, I just want you to be better than me, what is that? Like, it's not specific. And this is why it's difficult to get that accomplished. And when we make a goal like that, that's why it don't get accomplished. Right?
I mean, there's a lot of things going on. You know what I mean?
Right, I know, but it starts there. So we always want to start at, man, what is the end game? So if I'm going out to build a house, look, if I go out to build a house and I don't have no blueprint on to build the house, how's that house going to look? If I'm just building a house, if I'm just going to get some wood and I'm just going to put it together, how is the end result of that house going to be?
Something out of a Dr. Seuss book.
You never know.
I mean, it's a chance that it can turn out good, but I'm not willing to take that chance, man, where I just go ahead and just put wood together and block and brick and just say, boom, I'm going to build it. I'm not going to measure nothing and stuff like that, right? You know how much times I got to put together a dang on grill? It takes me 4 hours to put together a grill that I cook on, because sometimes I veer off of the dang on instructions. Because I say, man, I'm just going to do this. And then once I get there, I'll be like, oh, this whole thing is backward. I got to take everything. I got to take everything apart and switch this panel over here, because it was meant to be over here for a reason. So we want to make sure that we have a plan. Yes.
What was the T in the SMART?
Oh, timely.
Timely?
So SMART goals is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So we want to make sure that the goals that we have for our children are specific. We want to make sure that those goals are measurable. That means that we can measure us accomplishing the goals, right? We want to make sure that they are attainable. They're not some stuff like, man, yeah, I want to be able to walk to the moon. It's like, man, that's not realistic, brother. You're not walking to no moon, right? Like,
you ain't even gonna walk on the moon.
You're not, let alone walk to it. Gravity will not let you do that, right? So it's just like, that's not realistic. And then timely, meaning that, man, what's the timetable that you've given yourself to get this thing accomplished, right? So then the reason why I say timely, because we got to look at, man, we say that, man, by the time that they are adults, we want them to have these goals. We want to accomplish these goals. By the time that we give them to the world, we want them to have these goals locked in. You get that? Okay. So now, when we're thinking about the goals that we have for our children, the one thing that we do not want to do is we do not want to base our goals on what? What type of profession that we want them to be. Why do you think that that's important?
They have the right to make their own decision.
Oh, so, but I'm saying though, what if I say, man, you know what? I want you to be a lawyer. I want you to be a doctor, because that's a respected profession. And then you can make a lot of money being a lawyer and a doctor.
Sometimes money ain't important.
So you saying you ain't successful if you got all of the money?
I mean, in some aspects, but not all of them.
Well, okay. Well, then we got to ask ourselves, what is success?
Whatever you want it to be.
It's relative, right? Yeah. It's relative.
I was gonna say something like that. So basically, as I was growing up, my mom basically supported me in anything that I wanted to do. But she wanted me to be successful in doing that. She wanted me to love what I was doing, be smart about what I picked, and then, like, she would sit down with me, and I'm 16, 17-year-old, sit down with me and grill the fuck out of me on some fucking note cards. Like, to the point where I'm getting frustrated. Like, she's like, no, you ain't getting up from this table, driving me, to do better.
Right.
You know what I mean? She just wanted me to be successful and happy. Happy's really what it is. At the end of the day, it's not about the cash. Like, don't get me wrong. Money's great.
Right.
But at the end of the day, love what you do.
No doubt. Because if you say, man, I'm gonna go ahead and raise my children to be this lawyer and be this doctor or be this football player because I blew out my knee and that's what I wanted to do, so I'm gonna raise my children to be the best football player out there, and then they become that best football player out there. They go out there and they become the best lawyer out there. They go out there and become the best doctor out there, right? And everybody, they respect them. The whole world, they respect them. You are the greatest, right? Are they successful if they say, man, you know what, man, but really what it is for me to do is I actually want to be a speaker. Do you feel like that are they successful? Did you raise them to be successful?
No, because they didn't succeed.
If they're not
it's what they wanted to do.
They didn't succeed in exactly. They didn't succeed in what they wanted to do. They exceeded in what you wanted them to do.
So then they're not successful.
No.
You gotta let them make their own decision.
They're not gonna get up and say, man, yes, life is clicking for me, right? They getting up and say, man, I got to go here and fight for this next case. I done seen lawyers in the county and in the lobby and stuff, and you should have seen their face.
I hate this.
I say, man, dang, y'all look like y'all just miserable, right? And I'm coming up in there charged up, like, yeah, let's get rocking and rolling, right? And they in there like, I got to go. Right. They like this brother's so charged up, right? It's like, because I've been able to really, man, fall into my design, what I've been called to do. This has been placed inside of me. That's why you ain't got to twist my arm to do it. That's why I could go ahead and sacrifice my weekends to come in places, to come in facilities. It's not a compromise. I come in facilities on holidays. That means that when everybody else is off in the state, I'll still come in the facility. It doesn't matter to me because this is what I've been called to do. This is me. You know, you don't even have to pay me to do it. And what's crazy is that when you find somebody to pay you to do this stuff, it's crazy. It's like, y'all paying me to do stuff I would do for free. Like, that stuff is success. And that's what it's about. So I want my children to be able to experience that. I can't tell my children, I say, man, go in there and be a speaker. Like, that might not be for them to do. Like, I feel a certain type of way when I have the ability to be able to connect with individuals, to be able to give people some messages and things like that, to help them to be able to figure things out. It does something for me. It just is what it is. That's me. It's been put inside of me. I've come to this world with that, and I've been able to tap into that, and now I'm able to live in that. And that's why my life clicks for me, because I'm able to do what I believe I have been called to do, what's been placed inside of me. You can say, man, Carlos, go ahead and sit in the office. They done offered me that stuff. When I was going inside of the institutions before I was even getting any type of salary, it was Urbanleys and the different big organizations. They said, Carlos, man, we can go ahead and make you this manager in this management position. Crazy, right? And they was like, man, this is the salary, $60,000, $70,000. And I say, man, I can't go inside of the facilities? No, you have to cut that out. No, I ain't cutting that out. I'm going to continue to do what I do. Because that's what feeds me. Me being in the office at a desk somewhere, it just don't feed me. And only thing that I would be getting in return for that is what? Money. So I stuck to my guns. Now I get it. I get all of that stuff. It's different. So I want my children to be successful. I want them to be able to say, man, this is what I've been called to do. I'm doing what I've been called to do. I don't want them to do what I want them to do, what I wanted to do. Like, I don't want him to be a speaker. I'm not creating a carbon copy. I'm guiding them to be the best them, period. I'm not guiding them to be a second version of myself. That stuff is stingy and it's selfish. You hijacking your children's lives. You gonna do what I want you to do. If you wanted to be the garbage man, then be the garbage man. If that's what's inside of you, whatever it is that you want to do, then you do. I'm going to help you get that accomplished as your father. So when we thinking about goals, we don't base the goals based on what? On the profession that we want them to be, but we base our goals on what? What type of character that we want them to be. That's key. All right? So now, when I set up my goals for my children, I have 5 character traits that I want them to have. And that's my goals that I have for them, is to make sure that by the time that they are adults, they have these 5 character traits instilled in their character. That's what my whole parenting plan surrounds, is those 5 goals. And that dictates my interactions with my children. How do I get those goals accomplished is another thing, right? So the first thing that I do is I have my children write them down on a piece of paper. Boom. They write them down on a piece of paper, and then they look up the definition of what that character trait means, right? And then what do they do with that piece of paper? Where you think I have them put it at? Where, so they can see it. Where does, ain't no doubt, man, because that's where the children stay at, is in the refrigerator. So I have them place those 5 goals on the refrigerator. So every time they open up that refrigerator, they are seeing their goals that I have for them. So then that means that they are focused on the goals. I am focused on the goals. I tell the mother about the goals. The mother is focused on the goals. We all are focused on these goals. What is the likelihood of us accomplishing those goals if we are all focused on those goals?
Almost 100%.
No doubt. And they are specific. Now, after they put the goals on the refrigerator, the next stage into accomplishing the goals is we got to encourage the behavior. Encouragement means to be specific. It's telling them exactly what they did, right, at that particular time, how did it benefit the situation, and how it's going to benefit them in the future. Encouragement, it means to be specific. It's telling them exactly what they did, how it benefited the situation, and how it's going to benefit them in the future. That's encouragement. So when you are seeing them exhibiting some of the goals that you want them to have, guess what you do? You encourage the behavior. You build on the positive. When you build on the positive, what do you see? You get more positive. If you focus on the right, then you're going to get more right. So then that's what we want to do. So when we see them doing the right, guess what we do? We encourage the behavior. And then guess what they're going to do? They're going to look for different ways to show it to you again, because children are like that. They like that. Not only ice cream, but they just like, man, a warm smile. They just like a positive interaction from their father, from their parent. When their parent just gives them the nod, they like, yeah, they feel good about themselves. So now, once they understand what it is that they did, because you encouraged the behavior, you were specific about what they did, you told them why it benefited the situation, and then you tell them how it's going to benefit them in the future. Now that locks it into their head. Now they will know exactly what to do. They will look for different ways to do it. They are going to start out looking for different ways to do it. Why? Just to please their father, until it ultimately becomes what?
A habit.
It becomes a habit. It becomes a part of their character. Men, I kid you not, I see this stuff happen with my children. This stuff is like phenomenal. The mother, my daughter's mom said, man, you know what? Hey, listen, man. Hey, man, you know what? She is like literally exhibiting the stuff that you talking about. It's crazy. She had told her some stuff. She said, Mom, she's 5 years old. She says, Mom, I'm using my mind. right? So what she did, she said this. She says, listen, she says, because her mom, she said, man, you know what, man, I ain't want this taco with the dang on beans on it, man. They put beans on my dang on taco. And she says, Mom, just use a spoon and scrape off the beans. And she said, dang, I was fussing. And she said, dang, man, you right. I can use a spoon to scrape off the beans. But what she was doing was exercising one of the goals that I had for her. And one of the goals that I had for her was bringing value back to the table. So she was offering her mom a solution. And then her mom come back and say, man, dang, you right. I appreciate you helping me out with this situation. And she says, Mom, I was just using my mind. At 5 years old. And she said it blew her away. And I said, man, wow, that's just what it is, man. But it's about the constant work that I do in developing her mind to be what I need it to be, because I'm focused on the goals that I have for her. So now let's get into these goals, fellas. All right. First goal that we have for our children, we want them to be confident, right? So we want them to have confidence. Why is confidence so important?
Confidence, you get a lot of things done. People look at you differently.
Right.
Opportunities come to you.
Don't you think successful people are confident?
Absolutely.
Ain't no doubt, right? Successful people are confident. Confident people are attractive. That's why successful people are confident, right? Because they attract people. Opportunity come through relationships, brothers.
They attract positive.
No doubt. No doubt. When you confident, that ensures me that you're not going to mishandle me.
It's a healthy vibe.
It's a healthy vibe because you ain't trying to compete against me. You ain't feeling like that what I do is going to take away from you. You be around people who feel like that what you do is going to take away from them, or they try to build themselves up by, man, squashing you down because of their insecurities, right? They try to demean you. They try to talk about you. They try to break you down because of their insecurities.
Right. They know you're not trying to befriend them.
No doubt. So then that's why it's important that I want my children to be confident as adults. And I can just think about myself, man, just prime example, at 13 years old, me not being confident because of the way that I was raised, right? And I was insecure. And you can see my insecurities by the way that I was moving. I say that I had to get this money. And when I get this money, man, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. I'm gonna be on top. Like, ain't nobody cracking on me when I get this money. I'm gonna be overly aggressive, right? So I just felt like that I had to be that way because of my insecurities. And that way got me 10 years in prison. I felt like, man, I couldn't go against my environment. Everybody in my environment was selling dope. I wasn't strong enough to say, man, you know what? I'm not about to do that. I'm going to school. I was getting mayor roll at one point in time, brothers. I stopped because I didn't want to be that person who was just like smart like that. Like, it seemed like what was highlighted was to be like,
that thug life.
Right, like just to be dumb, right? It's like that was celebrated. So I didn't want to showcase me being smart. So what I said is that, man, you know what? I'm gonna just get money. I'm just gonna get to it because ain't nobody about to take advantage of me. Like, confidence. So confidence can help us be who we need to become. So I want my children to be confident, right? The next goal that I have for them, I want them to be
DECISION.
I want them to be good decision makers. Right? Why is being a good decision maker important?
Because he need that skill to pass on to the next generation.
That's
because
what truly makes you smart.
Because the decisions mean so much in life, right? Don't they?
Right. It shows you what path you go down, what avenue you take.
All of this stuff is choice. Remember what we talked about earlier, where we said that, man, we the only living species that don't maximize its potential, and the reason why we don't maximize our potential is because we make the choice not to, right? Like, we make the decision not to. And when you don't maximize your potential, you are going to reap what? The consequences for not maximizing your potential. For you not being the best you that you've been called to be, you gonna pay for that. And what do you pay for it with? Your misery.
What is it? D-E?
D-E-C-S-I-O-N.
D-E-C-I-S-I-O-N.
D-E-C-S-I-O-N?
I-S-I-O-N.
D-E-C.
Decision.
There's an I in between that C and S.
It's an I between them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Decision.
Yeah.
Brother said decision. Like brother said, pronounce it, brother. Decision. Decision.
Yeah, it sneaks itself in there.
Right. Right.
They shouldn't belong in it. O-N.
I-O-N. There's an I before the O.
You sure enough is right, man. That's so crazy than the mug, man. I don't know what the heck is going on with myself at the cool. All right, cool. Good decision makers, right? Because we want to make sure that whatever the consequences are, we are okay with the consequences. So the foundation of a good decision is what? Is us understanding what the consequences is. So what I always tell people is what we want to do is we want to invest all of our energy into understanding the consequences, because you're not really going to live with the decision, right? You're going to live with the consequences of those decisions. So you want to make sure that whatever the consequences is, you understand the consequence. I didn't understand the consequence at 19. At 13 years old, I didn't understand the consequence of where I was heading to by making the decisions that I made. So then that's what made it a poor decision. If I would have understood the consequence, would I would have made the same decision? No. Right? Because ain't no way I'm about to go. If you would have told me how it looked. See, the problem was when people came home from the prison, and that's the information that I got. They used to come home and be like, man, it wasn't nothing, man. I did that stuff standing on my head, man. Yeah. And then they would get celebrated. I would be like, oh, that ain't nothing, man. I'm about to take a shot at it. You know, if that's the only thing that I got to look forward to is prison, it don't seem that bad, because people always came home like it was nothing. But when I got incarcerated, what I seen was that everybody was complaining. Nobody was okay with prison, right? And I said, man, how do y'all come home and don't complain, but when y'all inside, everybody complaining, nobody is satisfied? So y'all giving me bogus information. So I developed my philosophy off of bogus information. I made my decision off of bogus information to people who wasn't being serious. So when I came home, I said, man, I just did 10 years, man. The reason why it was hell. I didn't know who the heck was raising my son. Man, that stuff was crazy than a mug, man. Man, being in a facility with all men, that stuff crazy too, man. Everything was hard, man. There's no soft ankles around. Man, everything is hard, man. This stuff is crazy. The water hard, the cots is hard, the beds is hard, everything is hard, man. The bench that you eat lunch at is hard. Like, everything is hard, man. Count time, man, you got to go and bend over and cough and hold up your balls and let somebody look at you when you do that to make sure that you ain't toting nothing off for the visit. Man, this stuff is crazy, man. Like, so I explained to people, man, how I felt, and let people make their own decisions. At the end of the day, if that's what you want to do, brother, go ahead. But I want to give you all of the accurate information of exactly what you are facing, because when I did when I made the decision at 13, I didn't have the accurate information. It was bogus information. So then that's what I do. I give people what the real information is. Like, man, yeah, and you know your girl that you love? Yeah, man, you know your dude that you willing to die for? Guess what? He going to be getting with her, man. Like, he going to be at her. You know, he going to be coming to her and saying, man, such locked up. I know you need a little bit of assistance there. You know what I'm saying? Your dude gonna be at right. Like, this is what happens, man. And then they'll tell you, man, they're gonna be in the clubs free such and such, and then they're gonna be like, at your girl too.
Oh, it ain't like that, bro. I swear it ain't like that. Yeah, all right.
That's so silly. So we want our children to make decisions off of good information, right? But we want them to invest into understanding what is the consequences. That's the foundation of a good decision maker. We don't want them to be off in a place that they don't want to be because they didn't understand the consequences. So now when I'm raising my children, I'm helping them become good decision makers. I'm going to give you an example, right? This is a beautiful example. My daughter, we at the football field watching her brother, watching my son playing a football game. And she says, let's go to the concession stand, right? I said, cool, let's go to the concession stand, daughter. So we get to the concession stand and she says, man, I want that candy over there. I want those Skittles, those sour Skittles. I say, daughter, they are sour Skittles. You are not going to like them. And she says, I want them. And you know that concession stand candy be a little bit more expensive than regular candy. So I really don't want to waste the money because I know that she's not going to eat this dang on candy. But because I'm trying to raise and develop a good decision maker, the only way that you can become a good decision maker is how?
Learning.
Is
if
you make bad decisions. Yeah. So when you make more bad decisions, the better decision maker that you can become. So now I got to give her the space to be able to make bad decisions. So as a father, and because I'm focused on the goals that I have for my children, I give her the ability and I even fund it. Right? I fund her getting those Skittles that she says that she wanted. And I tell her that they sour. She said, I want them, Dad. I said, okay, cool. I'm going to get them. So when I get them and I say, daughter, now you know that when I get these Skittles, we ain't going back and getting something else. Like, this is what you get. She's like, I want it. I said, okay, cool. So I got her the Skittles, and sure enough, as soon as she tasted them puppies, she's like, they sour. I don't like them. And she said, Dad, can you go ahead and suck the sourness off of it, right? And I'm going to be honest, because I didn't want to waste them puppies. I started to suck the sourness off of them and give it to her, right? And she was like, and I said, man, forget this stuff. And I said, man, daughter, I'm not doing that no more, man. Like, because my hands was getting all sticky. I'm like, man, I'm not keep on sucking off all of these sour pieces and giving them to you. I'm like, it's over, man. And she's like, that's crazy. But I had to allow her to fail. Because her failure is going to end up becoming her success. Because now she's going to start to know what she don't want. So now she understands that she doesn't want no sour candy. Right? So we do movie night. Every Thursday we do movie night, right? And I go to the store, Kroger, or whatever may be the case, and we do the popcorn and things like that. And they pick out a movie. My son and my daughter, they pick out a movie, and we go ahead and do movie night. And then we also get the dollar candy and stuff from the store, so then they can get whatever candy they want. It's like the real live movies, man. I really set it up inside of the house, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. I love every bit of it. I got that idea from another parent, too. Another parent said that they do movie night once a week, and I took that idea from another parent. Now I've actually applied movie night. I've been doing it for the last about 8 months, right?
Well,
movie night.
There's another one I'm going to give you that you might want to look into. Every week, my aunt would have a family night with her children.
Right.
And her youngest son, who's now in his grave, he always wanted to get ice cream and go bowling. And so every week, or every time they had the family night, she let the kids choose what they wanted to do each time.
Right, absolutely. So and it's similar to with the movie night, absolutely. So then they choose which movie they want to watch and we get to it, right? So that's a good idea. So then that's something that we can take, fellas, when we starting to determine what type of father, like this is what I want to do, because it also offers that consistency that's needed. You see what I'm saying? That stuff is powerful. So I go ahead and after she tasted those sour Skittles, she said, man, I don't like that. So when we do movie night, guess what? When we go and get the candy, I say, what candy do you want? Again, I'm giving her the ability to make the decision, right? So now she says, Dad, are they sour? And I say, no, they ain't sour. She was like, good, because I'm not getting no more sour candy, man. I don't like sour, right? So now she's starting to adjust in the way that she's making decisions, right? She understands what it is that she don't like, and she's putting herself in a desirable place, right? Decisions. So if she can start that now, she's going to get better as time goes on. She's going to know how many people they do the wrong thing, and then they go back and do it again. And then they do it again. And then they do it again.
How do you correct that default?
So then that's what I'm saying. But that's what you do. You just let them experience it. And then you explain it to them. So then that's what I do. I explained it to her and say, man, sour candy is this, and this is the taste that you're going to get from sour candy. Either you like it or you don't. And when you don't like it, you don't like it. You know? So now it's on her. So she will adjust on her own. See, we get into that place. If it don't get corrected, we will grow and be that person that continues to hit their head against that stone wall because it never was corrected when we were younger. You see why I say this parenting is so important? Like, it wasn't corrected. Because a lot of times what happens is this, is that our parents make the decisions for us. See, so our parents will be like, hold up, I'm not about to spend that money on that. No, I ain't about to waste that money. No, you're going to get this because I know you're going to like this. So now the child never gets to experience that failure that they need to experience so then they can make that adjustment. Or the parent will be like, man, you're going to eat what I put on the table. What I do is I say, man, hey, you got to eat the vegetables, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to choose which vegetable that you want to eat. Corn, spinach, or green beans. So I'm giving them the ability to make decisions. So when they grow up, they're going to start to get used to making decisions. They're going to get used to knowing what to do when they make a bad decision.
Right. I'm going to go there. I was down 17 years, and the newest people, they have 10 numbers, 8 numbers, 5 numbers, 4 numbers. Now, somebody like that in this kind of setting, how do you help them to correct that default? Which, it worked for me. I mean, I was all right, and they had that mentality.
Right.
They're wanting to do good, but they can't seem to get there.
Right.
So how do they stop that from their kids from getting the same thing? Because now they're like, well, Dad, you did it.
Right.
And then, yeah, you're right. I mean, how do you correct that before they get too deep in that?
Right. So then that's the main thing is like we start to work on what they are doing and not what they did, right? So then that's what I tell my children. It's not about what I did, it's about what I'm doing. Because what I'm doing will dictate where I'm going. So that's what I get that person to understand. Only thing I can do is try to get them to understand until they come into agreement and say, man, I can go ahead and become better. Then that's when, it'll happen. But if they continue to say, man, I can't do it and it's just the way that it is, as long as they say they can't, then they won't. It just is what it is. Yeah. Like, everybody won't get it. Everybody won't make it. And that's just the way that it is, man. That's just the way that it's set up. Right. It's just the way that it is. It's not saying that they don't got what it takes to make it. It's just saying that they won't make it because they haven't came into agreement inside of their own selves that they can. Right? So now it's nothing that you can give them. It doesn't matter how much you talk to them. It doesn't matter what you do. I can come in here all day long, do a backflip, front flip, and everything else. But until you process it and you agree with it, it doesn't matter. I can put the messaging in certain ways that it floats through the air, right? It does all kind of wonders. But if you don't agree with it and you don't adopt it, it doesn't matter. Your mind is your greatest tool that you got. And if your mind isn't working for you, then it's working against you. If your mind is not an asset, then it's a liability. A lot of times people are in here, so when the people are saying that they can't, guess what? Their minds are liabilities. Oh, yeah. That means it's stripping the quality of their lives. It's nothing that can be done. You cannot do nothing about it.
I mean, it's like one guy who's he got 10 numbers. I mean, this is what I do. I like whores, I like drinking, I like this, and I go to prison for 18 months, 2 years, whatever. Come here, get my bling on from my store, and well, that's what you like. I mean, it's not. It's just that he's accepted it, right? He's accepted it, right? He's accepted it, right. But he doesn't like it, because I'm sure that he wants to be able to eat what he wants to eat. He wants to be able to go where he wants to go. The human spirit ain't meant to be controlled.
Ain't no chasing women around there.
Right. Ain't no chasing no women around here. So if he said that I like to get around these women, brother, ain't no chasing no women around here, brother. Ain't none of that. So if that's one of your likes, brother, you ain't accomplishing that like right up in here. So then therefore that's telling me that he's not in a desirable place because he cannot appeal to some of his things that he likes.
Exactly.
And his mind is a liability, and that's the reason.
But how do you help somebody correct that?
Yeah, so then that's the thing about it. Is like, only thing that you can do is give information. So when I come in here, I give information. I give what I believe to be true, right? I give that information. It's on you to process that information. It's on you to understand that information. It's on you to apply that information. The reason why this stuff is so beautiful and it's all on you is because it puts me in a position to where I can't come back to you and say, hey, you owe me, right? Because you actually used the information and applied the information and put the stuff together the way that you needed to put it together. So you can't owe me nothing, brother. It's on you. You can become the president of the United States. I can't be on the White House lawn and say, hey, brother, you owe me. I'm the one that taught you in fatherhood classes. You owe me. No, brother, you put together that information. You applied it. You learned the information, right? And you made it work for you in your life. So that's your main responsibility in life is you.
You fuck around and do that and get shot.
Right, brother, we don't know, like I'm fighting through the crowd, like, hey, man, remember you was locked up, I'm the one that helped you, you owe me, brother, like, pardon me on this stuff, man, that I need pardon, like, nah, man, it ain't gonna work. So, but that's what I want to make sure that my children are good decision makers, because I want them to be in the best places in life. The third goal that I have for them is this.
Self-respect.
I want them to be self-regulated. That means that I want them to regulate themselves. I want them to be adults to regulate themselves. That means understanding what needs to be done, and they get that stuff done. They don't need to be told what to get done. They're going to get done what needs to get done. I believe that those are the people that be able to progress in life, right?
They become leaders.
Right. When you sit up there saying, man, okay, I know that I need to get a job, so I'm going to go ahead and fill out the applications, and I'm going to go ahead and work and do what I need to do, right? Don't nobody need to force me and make me do what I need to get done, right? I know I need to pay these bills, so I'm going to go ahead and pay the bills. They ain't need to come here and cutting off no lights and stuff and water with me. Like, I'm going to pay the bills that need to be paid. Regulate themselves. I want them to regulate themselves. I want them to be self-regulated. I believe that people who are self-regulated, they are successful people. Remember, everything that I am instilling in my children is characteristics that I believe that they will need to be able to warrant success. That's all it's about. So that's why my goals are based on these character traits. The next goal, I want them to be individuals that bring value back to the table. Why is that important, fellas? Why do you want your children to be adults that bring value back to the table?
They might could teach you or their kids or anybody that's around.
So I'm going to ask you this. How do people look at people who bring some value? Are they attractive?
Yeah.
Right? If you got a problem and I come with a solution, and you got a problem and I come with a solution, how you going to feel about me?
I'm going to think what you want in return.
No, I'm just saying, I'm talking about just straight up, just like, you like, man, dang, man, like, am I going to be useful?
Yeah.
Bless.
Right, you like, man, dang, man, hey, actually, man, like, no doubt, man, like, man, that's good stuff, man, right in the nick of time, right? So, it's like, or if I come and I say, man, hey, I'm trying to bring you something, I'm trying to give you something, right? And you be like, dang, man, this brother trying to give, instead of me, or I can come and be like, what if I came to that same table and be like, every time I came to you, I said, man, I got another problem for you. Here go another problem. What if every time I came to you, it was a problem? How you gonna look at me then?
You're gonna not want to deal with it.
You ain't gonna want to deal with me, right? Because every time that I'm around you, it's a problem. I'm problematic. I'm coming to you with a new problem. You got people be like, man, I'm a problem. Is that what you want? It's like, no, brother. I don't want no problem. If you problematic, brother, stay over there. I don't need problems. I need people coming to me with solutions, right? Like, help me to solve situations. I always tell people there's two type of individuals out there that you come in contact with. It's either those people who are connections or it's those people who are attachments. Attachments, they drain energy, right? They suck energy out of you. That means that when you are around them, you feel worse than you were before you came in their presence, right? You could have had an idea, and then after you leave this person, you're not so sure of that idea that you had because they were so negative about the idea that you got. You could have said, man, I want to start up a clothing line, and they done gave you so much of reasons of why it won't work. Now you feeling like, man, it might not work, right? And then you're going to come in contact with those people who are connected. And then when you come to them with that idea, they're going to come with different ways on how you're going to be able to get that done. And you're going to feel energized when you leave their presence, right? And you're going to look for them again when you have another idea, because those are the attractive people to be around. Connections or attachments. I don't want my children to be an attachment. You got people that's going to tell you everything that's wrong in the situation and not tell you what's right. And if I tell you everything that's wrong in the situation, then how am I going to be able to get right? It was people who was doing 10 years just like me, right? And they said everything that was wrong with the prison. And I said, man, what was right? I said, what is right is that, man, I got the ability to be able to do college. I'm about to go ahead and graduate from business management. I'm going to go ahead and get all of the credits out of there, and I'm going to learn what's in that curricula so I can apply it to my life. I use some of the same stuff that I learned in that college right now in my life, period. I've written 3 books. Why? Because I know how to work on the computer. I learned the keyboard, so now I can go ahead and sit down in front of the computer, without looking at the screen. Because I got into administrative office technology for vocational training, and I learned my home keys, ASDFJKL semicolon, right? So I can go ahead and type on the keyboard without looking at the screen or the keyboard. It helped me to be able to write my books, right? It's crazy. Because you needed to put the books on that stuff. So I looked at what was right inside of the prison, and because I looked at what was right, I was able to capitalize on that opportunity. It changed the game for me, right? But it was other people who was looking at what was wrong, and they said, man, this stuff is crazy. Man, they got us counting, man, they got us in here like animals. This stuff is legal slavery, man, this stuff is crazy, you know? And because they looked at it like that, guess what happened when they got released from prison?
And we're back.
Absolutely right. But some of them got killed. They didn't get a chance to come back, right? Like, that's just the reality of it. So we want our children to be connections. People who is going to look for the right in things and not looking for the wrong in things. Because that's what we want to build on, is the right in things, right? So then that's the individual that bring value back to the table. Our children will be a connection when they bring value back to the table. When people see them, they're going to say, man, you know what? There goes such and such. They ain't going to be seeing them and be like, oh, man, here comes such and such. Don't look at him. If he don't see you looking, he ain't going to know we even over here. You know what I'm saying? That's how people be talking about people, man. They be like, man, he coming over here about to beg for something.
That's Andrew.
Right, that's how people be talking about people. It's like, man, bro, like, dang, man, like, brother, you worthless. That's how people will look at your children. So we don't want them to be individuals that don't bring value back to the table. We want them to be individuals that bring value back to the table. The last goal that I have for my children, I want them to be individuals that does their best. So why is that important? I want them to do their best, because if you do your best, then what kind of results will you get? You're going to get the best results possible, right? If you do your best. And doing your best is a mindset. I kid you not, it's a mindset. And it's a mindset that gets developed. You know, some people have do it, right? Because that's been developed. It's been okay to have do it. So then that's why they have do it. So now I'm going to give you an example right now so we can lock it in on how to accomplish some of these goals. How do we accomplish these goals? Remember, we said encouragement. It means to be specific. So now, for example, I see my daughter, she's coloring, right? She's coloring on her little coloring page. I kid you not. I kid you not. I kid you not. She's coloring. This is what makes this stuff so beautiful, because I have the ability to be able to teach it and then go apply it, and then come back and teach it and then go apply it. That's why you don't see me with no books or nothing. This stuff is all in my head, and I'm just giving y'all the stuff, right? So this stuff is like in me. So my daughter, right? She's coloring on her coloring page, and she's taking her time, right? And she's doing, what is she doing? She's taking her time. She's trying to make sure that all of the colors is within inside of the lines, right? Now, of course, some of it was outside of the lines, but she's really taking her time to get this picture to look exactly like she wanted it to look. So when I see that, which one of these goals is she exhibiting?
Doing her best.
She's doing her best. So now, listen, this is what the parenting piece is all about. This is how we get intentional about this development of an actual individual. So now, when I see her exhibiting my goal, and first of all, I know what my goals are. You see what I'm saying? I got the blueprint. This is what is dictating my parenting, right? Is my goals. Everything is surrounded by that. So when I see her doing her best, I got to lock that character trait inside of her mind so she can duplicate that again and again and again until it becomes a part of her character. I encourage the behavior. So when I see her coloring like that and she's taking her time and I know that she is really trying to give her best effort, what I do is I encourage the behavior. And I says, daughter, I says, man, look at this, man. Look at that picture, man. Like, man, you are doing your best. Look, I'm being specific, telling her exactly what she's doing, right? You doing your best. Boom. And she looks at me and she's like, this is exactly the response that I'm getting from her. She's like, yeah, I'm doing my best. Like, check out the rest of it too, right? And she's continuing to color. And I says, daughter, man, when you do your best, man, look at the way that this picture turning out, man. It looks just like the example. Man, you doing your best, man. Look at the way that the picture is looking. This puppy about to go on the refrigerator, man. Look at the way that it looks, man. As soon as you done, we putting it on the refrigerator, right? So now I'm letting her know how doing her best benefited the situation. You see what I'm saying? So now she says, wow, because I did my best, the picture is turning out exactly like I wanted it to turn out, right? And then I go ahead and follow it up with how it's going to benefit her in the future. When you do your best, man, you're going to be in a whole nother level in life. You're going to get your best results in life when you do your best. Good job, daughter. That's what I'm talking about. How do you think that she receives that information?
Via you.
Man, and guess what happens after that? This is why I say this stuff is what I do, brothers. And I see the results. And that's why I teach it the way that I do. So when it's time for us to go ahead and do the chores at the end of the night, because I make sure that we clean up the kitchen or whatever. I make sure me and my two kids, y'all, we got to clean up the kitchen. We got to put in the work, right? So now when she is sweeping, right? Guess what she's doing? What was that? No, all right, guess what? Man, good question, brother. I said, hey, that.
Oh, stop it, man.
All right, so look, so boom. So when she's sweeping, guess what she doing?
That's little Kim.
She like, Dad, check this out.
Little Tim.
Guess what she's trying to show me?
She's doing her best.
Exactly.
Dad, remember that? Look, look how I'm sweeping now. Just like I did with the coloring book. Look what I'm doing with the sweeping. I'm doing my best, daughter, no doubt. And I go through that same process again, telling her exactly what she's doing, how it's benefiting the situation. Daughter, you doing your best. You sweeping right now, man. It's saving me time so we can go ahead and get into bed a little bit earlier. I appreciate you.
Shit, if that was the case, they can clean up the whole damn kitchen house.
Man, I'm telling you, brother, like, I'm telling you, I kid you not. And you think that this stuff, it's true. Like, I see this stuff. My son, he just cut the grass yesterday, right? The yard is big than a mug. This brother brother gets it done. This brother done figured out a way to get it done the best way he possibly can. He done broke it down into sections. And I say, man, you done carved around the fire pit. You done figured out a way. And I said, son, that stuff look good, man. So he's intentional about what he is delivering.
Prideful.
He's taking pride in his work. Like, that stuff just doesn't happen. It happens because I am focused on instilling these character traits inside of my children. When I see them exhibiting some of these character traits, I encourage the behavior. And because I encourage the behavior, they look for different ways to show me the same thing that they know how to do. They understand it. Now they go out there and look for different ways to show me how to do it. And then when they find those different ways to show me how to do it, they look for another way and then another way. And then it just becomes a part of their character. This stuff, I'll be up in this stuff like it's a mad scientist type of stuff. I'll be like, you're going to have everything that you need by the time you are an adult. So now I'm not just hoping that they be successful. I expect my children to be successful because of the amount of work that I'm putting in. This is not me just wishing. Like, I'm making sacrifices, brothers. I make sacrifices to ensure that my children will be successful. And it's the amount of work that I put in to protect the relationship, make sure the relationship is positive so I can continue to transfer the information that they need to have so that they can develop the minds that's going to be an asset and not the minds that will be a liability. So I put in that work for that reason alone because I don't want them to become adults and they walking around here with a mind that's a liability and their minds are stripping the quality of their life and they don't know how to put their lives together because their minds is a liability. Because of my neglect. So they individuals that bring value back to the table, they self-regulated, they good decision makers, and all of that stuff, it increases their confidence. And matter of fact, when they do something wrong, what do? I still look for the right when they do something wrong. Why? Because there's some right in the wrong of us and there's some wrong in the right of us. Ain't nothing all the way wrong. Right? So now what I do when they commit an error, do you think that I just tell them everything that they did wrong? Is that true?
No, you let them see what they did wrong.
But is it some right too in that as well?
Yes.
Absolutely right. My daughter, she had messed around and she had made her mother a 4-decker peanut butter sandwich. No jelly. 4 decks. 4 pieces of bread. 4-decker. No lie. Right? That puppy was dried in the mug. I said, but look what she was trying to do. And I had to be focused because I understand what my goals is for my children. I couldn't allow that opportunity to slip by. Opportunity of a lifetime during the lifetime of the opportunity. That means that you got to capitalize on the opportunity when they present themselves. But because my mind is set up the way that it is, I see the opportunity. And when I saw the opportunity, what did I do? I encouraged the behavior. She got her mother a 4-decker. Yeah, it was lightweight, wasting the bread. Yeah, nobody wanted that stuff. That stuff was dried in the mug. But in her mind, she was saying to herself, man, I'm trying to hook mom up with a meal. And when I seen her make it, she was like, shh, don't let mom know. I'm about to hook her up with a sandwich. I'm like, and I seen, I'm like, I'm glad she ain't hooking it up for me, right? But I'm like, that's cool. I say, no doubt, right? So when she brings the sandwich to her mother, she like, here, mom, here goes your sandwich. Here goes the sandwich. I didn't see you eat nothing today, And her sister was around and she was like, oh, she's 13 years old. She's like, that stuff looked dried in the mug. And I had to stop it and I redirected the whole scenario because I said, man, no, that's good stuff, man. Man, that's some good stuff, man. You literally trying to help out with your mom, man. You trying to make sure that she eat. Man, you bringing value back to the table, man. You trying to help out. You trying to help out. And her mom was like, man, she just kept on holding the sandwich like she ain't want to bite into it. So I had to bite the bullet and I said, man, let me go ahead. I mean, I ate dang on mystery meat, so I can eat.
And then OPI candies.
They were Pink Panther.
I mean mystery meat, man. I mean Johnny Marzetti, all this dang on stuff. I just eat goulash. I just ate all that stuff, man. Like, so I can eat a 4-decker dry peanut butter sandwich. So I went ahead and bit the bullet. You know, she might not have been built for it, but hey, I'm built. I could get it done. So I got it done, and I was like, and I ate enough till I could just throw it away the whole lot.
You would have killed for that sandwich in the joint, man.
Right.
What you want for that sandwich,
What you want for that sandwich, man? Like, absolutely. But that's next level, though. But I just wanted to capitalize on that opportunity. But guess what it did for her confidence? It also increased her confidence because she like, man, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Because somebody could have looked at it and said, man, why are you wasting the bread? Why are you wasting food? And they could have looked at the wrong in it and not looked at the right in it. And then it would have discouraged her from trying to do something like that again. Right. So now she won't look for ways to add value to the table. She's just going to be like, I'm afraid to make mistakes, so I'm just not going to do nothing.
Right.
Or they'll feel negatively about the person that's interacting with them in that way. Because it's like, you just looked at everything that was wrong. But you didn't look at what was right. What was right is that I was trying to help you out. But because you just focused on the sandwich and the bread getting wasted and it being dry, like you focused everything that was wrong with it, but you didn't you didn't tell me what was right with it. So now when you talk to me in a way to where it was all wrong, I'm going to start to think myself as being all wrong. It's no right in me. Because when you talk to me about all of the wrong. You know, people have a problem with telling you about the right in you. Because people are negative by nature. Mm-hmm. People will tell you about everything that you've done wrong, but they won't tell you about the stuff that you've done right. They feel like that it's taken away from them when they go ahead and congratulate you for some stuff that you've done right. Like it's going to take away from them telling you, like, man, yeah, man, no doubt, man. They feel like the only thing that they can talk to you about is the wrong. It makes them feel better to talk to you about the wrong because people are negative by nature. And not only that, but they have been developed and raised to be negative. When your parents interact with you in a negative way, only thing that you do is look for the stuff that is negative.
Misery loves company.
You can't even get right because you've been conditioned that way. Because your parents highlighted all of the stuff that was wrong. Even when it was right, they highlighted the stuff that was wrong. Even when you did all right, they never did give you no type of encouragement because they said that if you doing right, then that means I ain't saying nothing. If I ain't saying nothing, then you know you doing right. When I say something, then that's when you know it's a problem. Like, they only gonna talk when it's a problem. Right. I'm gonna go all the way to level 10 when it's a problem, but I'm not gonna go to level 10 when it's good. Man, what type of thinking is that? Shouldn't I go ahead and go to level 10 when you do that which is right?
You should.
Like, that's crazy. But we are conditioned to go to level 10 when people do wrong. We ain't conditioned to encourage the right. We conditioned to correct the wrong. And that's how we establish a strong, positive relationship with our children. Fellas, that's the end of this dang on class, man. I think we did, 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that?
I want to say something real quick with
Go ahead.
That last one. You know how everybody or people will tell you strive for perfection?
Right.
If you strive for, and this is how my mom explained it, if you just do your best, don't strive for perfection, because if you strive for perfection, you'll constantly fail. Ain't nobody perfect.
Right, no doubt.
And you're just going to disappoint yourself.
No doubt, no doubt. And this is the thing about it. Right, absolutely. So it's just about you doing your best, and only you know if you are doing your best. And that's the only that's the only requirement for you to become successful, is just to do your best. Is just to do all that you can. I tell people, man, are you doing all that you can do? Do all that you can do. All you can do is all you can do. But you got to be honest with yourself and really say, are you doing all that you can do? And a lot of times when you look in the mirror and you start to ask yourself some questions, you like, man, I really ain't doing all I can do. Like, you know if you doing all you can do. People will say, man, I'm doing all I can do to get my children. You ain't really doing all you can do to get your children. I'm doing all I can do to be the best father that I can be. You ain't really doing all you can do to be the best father you can be. You know you ain't doing all you can do. All you can do is all you can do. And if you're doing all you can do is enough. But you just got to make sure that you're doing all you can do. If you're doing all you can do to overcome prison, you'll overcome prison. But you just got to do all you can do. If you're not doing all you can do to overcome prison, I kid you not, you're not overcoming it. It's going to continue to be a part of your life until you die. If you're not doing this, takes all you can do. To overcome this, it takes all you can do. It's going to take everything to overcome prison. It's going to take everything. If you don't bring it all, I'm telling you, you will not overcome this stuff. I'm giving you some truth here. You will not overcome it if you don't give it your all. Okay. You got to give it your all, man. That stuff ain't no joke, man.
You sharing that today too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be definitely.
What were you on?